Guys, welcome to Wellness Made Simple. So, my name is Dr. Stephanie Poe, and I say doctor, and that what that means actually, I'm not a medical doctor, but I actually have a PhD in immunology from the University of Pittsburgh. And for 6 years there, I studied bacterial pneumonia in a mouse model, like in the context of critical care medicine and allergy and infectious disease. So, all of that gobbledygook, what that means is I studied the immune response in the lung primarily and what makes an effective immune response, how our lungs react to allergens and infections. And my specific thesis project actually focused also on how the strength of the immune system means that it has to ramp up when necessary and ramp down when appropriate. And so much of what we deal with in today's our inflammatory based diseases, which we're going to talk about, which means our own immune system, which is creating inflammation, doesn't know how to turn off. And so I love to teach people how to make sure that their immune system knows how to turn off. So I hope that that makes sense. Um, Everything in doTERRA, we're studying basically the difference between the modern approach, which we're familiar with because we've probably, a lot of us have utilized doctors. I like to say half of us are alive today because of modern medicine, truly. But we know that the focus is on managing symptoms. And the solutions are made from isolated synthetic agents. So they're not natural. It's kind of like you are like really strongly coming in and like telling your body what to do in one pathway or in one capacity. And that means that there's actually a lot of side effects that happen because you're like just like putting synthetics in your body. Also, we spend so much money on our healthcare in America. All right. Globally, $6.5 trillion a year. And are we any healthier? Like, is this modern approach, although we need it, it's acute care when acute things pop up. I'm so grateful for it. But most of what we're dealing with today are actually chronic lifestyle-based diseases, which have inflammation as the root. So the natural approach, which I'm an advocate for, obviously a wellness advocate with doTERRA for about 9 years. As a PhD immunologist, this is kind of the last place I thought I would find myself, but I'm really grateful for it. And it kind of found me after I had two kids. And it's really a lot of times when we think about having children and like what we're putting on their body or in their body during pregnancy or otherwise that like helps us start to think about how we're treating our own body. So now I'm 41 and I've been living like this for 9 years, and I am finally taking care of myself in the way that, with consistency, I'll just be honest about that, in a way that is like, I hope, setting myself up for longevity. So the natural approach, which we advocate for at doTERRA, really seeks to address the root cause of issues. And these oils in bottles and supplements are natural. All right. And so they have side benefits instead of side effects. It's like instead of putting a bomb in our body, like in the case of antibiotics, which kind of really disrupts our gut microbiome, you can think of oils and these supplements as like really foundational support and like gentle nudges to put our body going in the right direction. All right. So we're going back to the foundation of what our body truly needs. And when it comes to oils, that part of doTERRA, we're really going to focus more on the foundational wellness supplements today. But oils is where I started when I came into this company. I was fascinated by the research that I was reading. I didn't know that there was actually any scientific research or scientific basis for the use of essential oils in our body. And there is, in fact, a ton of it. And we think of oils in these bottles, and sometimes it's confusing to us. And I used to see women using them, and I would just be like, oh, like, that's so weird. I'm glad they think that that works. But when you really start to think about it, the essential oils are the aromatic part of a plant. And when we think about what plants have to do, they have to harness energy from the sun to grow. So they need cellular health. Plants also need to have like antibacterial, antifungal properties so that they don't suffer from infections. Plants also, the biggest threat to plants is getting eaten by insects and pests. So plants also have to have substances that ward off or defend them against getting eaten by insects and pests. So when we think about what these aromatic compounds do, they really serve to keep the plant alive. And plants are made of carbon. Our bodies are made of carbon. And so we really can they are like work in harmony with our body to support ourselves in really gentle, natural ways. So inflammation is our immune system's response to injury or illness. It is good. It is so good that we have an immune system, or else we'd all be like, you know, suffering from infections, right? So acute inflammation is good and chronic inflammation is bad. And I have like some paragraphs down here. I just want to read them. So cortisol spikes in response to stressful life events lower our inflammatory response. So you think fight or flight, right? We have stressful life event, cortisol spikes. And basically, what that does is it takes resources away from our immune system so that we have all of our energy to flee, fight, deal with that thing that's causing that stress. So over time, that really begins to backfire because, like I said, if our immune system doesn't have the resources it needs, it can't ramp up when necessary, but it also can't ramp down. And so what we end up with is having increased, prolonged chronic inflammation with a weakened immune system that can't turn off. So this is why we see like autoimmune conditions often, spiking up after years of not taking care of ourselves, or we go through really stressful periods and then we end up with like achy joints, nervous systems that are a wreck, right? Because our immune system doesn't know how to turn off. So that inflammation is really truly everything we put in and around our body either feeds or fights inflammation. And a way to also think about that is like it either supports our immune system, its ability to turn on and off appropriately, or it doesn't. And inflammation is the root of all disease. So I love this graphic. Lorraine actually put it together. How inflammation in different parts of our bodies results in the diseases. And we often don't think about the fact that inflammation is the root. So inflammation in our lungs can lead to an autoimmune response, allergies, allergic inflammation, chronic asthma issues. Inflammation in our liver, like an increased toxic load in our liver, can cause fatty liver disease and enlarged liver, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Inflammation in our muscles is pain. Inflammation in our brain is not only depression and anxiety. Okay, think about that for a second. Depression and anxiety is a result of inflammation in our brain. That's really not what we're taught, right? We're taught that we have some sort of imbalance in, neurotransmitters. And in fact, inflammation is the root. Also, Alzheimer's, poor memory, MS, okay? Those are all the result of inflammation in our brain. So it says 20-1 on the slide because our diet in America today is a 20-1 ratio of pro-inflammatory fats to anti-inflammatory fats. So without really thinking about our diet, strongly supplementing with anti-inflammatory products, supplements, really working on lowering the amount of inflammation in our body, we are basically fighting an uphill battle. All right. We have a flood of inflammation coming at us from our food all the time. So this is just another slide to kind of say that same thing, types of inflammation. I want you guys to really understand, and I personally want this to really sink in for me as well, that types of inflammation are the underpinnings for all of the diseases listed here. Headaches, stomach issues, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Also, toxic overload, which is found in medications, our processed food, our personal care products, our cleaning supplies, heavy metals, mold that might be growing in our homes, fragrances. That's a huge one. There's fragrance in almost every like bath and body product that's sold at Target, right? And we just put them all over our bodies like it's no big deal. These increase inflammation. And the reason is those are all synthetics that our body has to find a way to process and get rid of. Our liver, right? Our liver, our kidneys, our digestive tract, and our skin are our detox organs. And so when they're overloaded with all of that stuff, they have to deal with that and all of the underlying inflammation that's going on more seriously in our body. There's no resources then to deal with that inflammation. And it's just allowed to sneakily take over because we're covering ourselves with all of these other toxic products. So doTERRA as a company to fight inflammation knows that it's not just enough to like, oh, go run once a week or go put essential oils all over your body or drip lavender on your pillow and goodness gracious, you're going to be fine. Okay. Every single thing we do in our life either feeds or fights inflammation. It's the root of all disease. And that will be really, really overwhelming. But I love doTERRA as a company because they really, really seek to break it down. So these pillars over here on the right, nutrition and digestion, that's the foundation. Movement and metabolism, rest and managing stress. If you can just think about one or more of these areas to start with, and I recommend nutrition and digestion, it lets go of the overwhelm of like, oh my gosh, my entire life, I'm living my life wrong. And you just can begin to habit stack and form different habits. And that, I mean, I've been with this company for a long time, and it was so overwhelming at first, the amount of information. I felt like I had to relearn the entire way I was like thinking about taking care of myself. But over the course of 9 years, it makes sense now. And I don't do it perfectly at all, and my family doesn't do it perfectly at all, but we have the foundations in place and we have kind of the products that we need and like the lifestyle stuff set up. So when it comes to supplements, I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this, but our supplement industry is like whack. Okay. Um, Labels can say anything. There's no regulatory body. It's not that I need there to be, right? Because the FDA does approve things that are toxic in our food. All right. So it's not like I need the FDA to give a stamp of approval. But whenever we do studies, so the FDA actually did a study from 2007 to 2016 and detected contaminants in 776 dietary supplements from 146 different companies. And 3 of them actually didn't even contain the active ingredient listed on the label. This is a widespread problem. And so for me to take a supplement or to put it in my family's body, I've got to know the company. I need to be convinced of the quality and purity. I need to know that it's based on whole foods and that it's tested for contaminants. I want it to know about its sourcing, where it comes from. And to be honest, more than anything, I need it to be simple. It can't be a 10-step routine to wellness. All right. I'm really busy, 5 kids, blended family, and doTERRA's once a day dosing model, that is the current supplement routine, has really, really changed my life. So, again, disease in our modern culture, all right, that nutrient deficiencies from our food, we cannot get it from our food today. And basically, all of us are deficient in things like vitamin D, vitamin E, magnesium. Guys, magnesium is a big one. It's linked to brain health, it's linked to the amount of sleep, right? We get our entire nervous system needs magnesium to function efficiently and well. And so the fact that we're deficient in that makes it make sense why so many of us are struggling, right? And on the left there is just like the multitude of reasons why um, our food is suffering today. So I did a little deep dive from a full day webinar that I sat through with the NIH. And in America today, all right, there's 5 common health concerns starting around 35, age 40. Okay, kind of depends on genetics when they start for you, but kind of it's like the general trend is all of us are heading this direction. High cholesterol, high blood pressure, blood sugar issues, so either pre-diabetic or full-blown type 2 diabetes, acid reflux, which is indigestion, and mental health struggles. And when I look at the underpinnings for these diseases, again, just like I feel like I've already said 6 different times, inflammation is the root. All right. So high cholesterol, that's the one at the top. I'm just going to go through this. So when the body experiences chronic inflammation due to poor diet, like we talked about, stress, chronic stress or stressful life events, or toxic overload, our liver, all right, I said that's one of the detox organs, produces more cholesterol as part of the repair process. So it's basically like, hey, cholesterol is like trying to repair our body. So we have more cholesterol being produced. And then we're measuring with more cholesterol. That's actually good protective cholesterol, right? Our microbiome and our digestive tract is responsible for regulating cholesterol breakdown and getting that excess cholesterol that's produced out of our body. Like if that good cholesterol that's being produced is not utilized, our microbiome or our digestive tract has to eliminate it. So you can imagine how we have chronic stress, tons of cholesterol being produced, and if we do not have healthy gut, right, which is disrupted by all of those same things, it's not getting out. So that's just one example. So we have medications that are commonly prescribed, like statins for high cholesterol, um, because that high cholesterol is linked to heart disease, but the statins are lowering the liver's good cholesterol. Okay, so we still have it being produced, can't get out, and it's just like the cycle. All right, so if we can avoid some of the medications that are commonly prescribed for these issues, the crazy thing is the NIH said that if you can delay the use of medication by like 3 to 5 years and not just hop on that train, your difference in medical spending for your health will be a difference of $300,000, yes, less per year at age 75, 76, 80, and higher. So my husband and I were talking about this. We were like, isn't it so crazy that in our 30s and 40s, we're all like racing to save for retirement, putting our health on the back burner? And then the money that we've saved for retirement literally is just spent on managing health concerns that if we would have just taken care of ourselves and invested a little bit earlier in life, we would have that difference. And that's like evidence-based, okay? The NIH has done case studies, which is so crazy. So when I looked up all of the evidence-based alternatives for the medications for these top 5 health concerns, I'm telling you guys, dietary changes is listed for every single one. I understand that that's hard. And everything else is in the doTERRA supplements I'm about to tell you guys about. I was blown away, honestly. So, and I think about, okay, doTERRA is a scientifically driven company. They know what they're doing. They're very baked into the medical community. These supplements are designed very well to combat these issues in a once a day dosing formula, whole food extracts in a very, very bioavailable and in a format that our body can retain. And that's due to the scientific way that they're designed. So we have an advantage when we invest in our bodies using doTERRA supplements. And I think that that's awesome. I have been on these every single day since September. I don't know if that's 8 months, 9 months. I'm not able to think about that right now. And I feel so good. And one of the reasons I feel so good is because it's a once a day dosing model, which means I actually take it and I don't forget to take it. And I'm not skipping the second dose and I'm yada, yada, yada. That was such a problem for me before. So this QR code is a link to a very detailed document with a ton of research studies, ingredients, all of the things. If you're a researcher and you want to understand all of that, go to that document. So VMG stands for vitamins, minerals, and greens. It's a whole food superfood blend. It's bioavailable, okay? And it really sets our body up for success from a nutrition standpoint. Gonna go into a little bit deeper on the next slide. E Omega is part 2 of our foundational wellness package. E Omega is full of EPA and DHA fatty acids and anti-inflammatory omega-3s. Consumption of anti-inflammatory omega-3s is inversely correlated with mortality from all causes. Okay, that's a confusing sentence. Basically, what it means is when you look at omega-3 consumption, if you don't have enough of it, your chance of dying from almost like everything is higher. Okay, we need omega-3s in our body. That's what we don't get in our American diet, like at all. And then PB Restore is step 3, but I think very foundational. It is a pre and probiotic in one and a postbiotic in a double encapsulated format so that everything, all of the ingredients, the prebiotic gets down into our digestive tract so that the probiotic, which is the bacteria, actually have nourishment to nosh on and really sets our gut up for success. So if we don't continually put good bacteria into our digestive tract, there's just, you can think of it as like a space thing. There's space for the bad to overgrow. All right. And candida or yeast overgrowth that creates sugar cravings When there's space, that takes over. And so you can think of putting PB Restore in your body as doing two things. One, it lowers the amount of space that bad stuff has to overgrow. And two, you know you're getting the strains of bacteria necessary to like really talk to your immune system. Our immune system and our microbiome, they like live in harmony with one another. It's really cool. So much science there that I don't have time to go into. But you can think of those bacteria as sending little love taps to your immune system, teaching it how to behave, to respond when necessary, and also to turn off when it's no longer needed. So this VMG, honestly, it's incredible. All right. So it has the things that we need from a nutrition standpoint, all at levels that make sense based on the amount that's absorbed. So much of this is actually absorbed and able to be utilized by our body over the course of the 12 hours because it is liposomally encapsulated. So what that means is like, if you think about our cells, they have just like a fatty layer. These liposomes, it's also fat. So it's like our cells can slurp it up because it recognizes it. So it's full of whole food vitamins, minerals, vegetables, digestive enzymes. The other thing is, I think something like half of us have an inability to fully absorb B vitamins. And it's because our genetically, we're not able to methylate the B vitamin in order to utilize it. And VMG actually already methylates the B vitamins. So it removes that as an issue, which is truly, truly awesome. I think I have an issue with that, which is why I've had so much more energy on this VMG than the old formula of doTERRA's vitamins, because the old formula, the B vitamins weren't methylated. So I don't think I was able to utilize them appropriately. So it's just one sachet, I don't know if I'm saying that right, in water every day. And so I just literally blend it up. When you order it for the first time, you get a shaker bottle, which is actually so cute. I use one of those milk frothers. It literally takes me less than a minute to swallow the PB Restore, the E Omega, and then drink back the VMG. So it's a once a day dosing model that actually literally takes me 1 minute. It's awesome. So little bit deeper on this E Omega really quick. 95% of Americans fall short of the recommended amounts of these anti-inflammatory fatty acids. And 82% of fish oil supplements on the market do not comply with their own labeling claims for these ratios, which is, crazy. Here's some quick signs that you're not consuming enough healthy fats. So ages 9 to 24, brain fog, mood swings, dry skin or acne, and fatigue. Millennials, ages 25 to I would say 41, because I'm technically a millennial. Mental fatigue, burnout, high cholesterol, heart issues, skin problems such as eczema or dryness. For Generation X, joint pain, memory decline, brittle nails, hair loss, and weight gain due to a slowed metabolism. And then baby boomers, which I think sometimes we just think, oh, that's normal. Okay, we're getting older, it's normal. No, it's actually a sign that we're not consuming enough healthy fats. All right. So cognitive issues, memory decline, heart problems, high blood pressure, joint pain, arthritis, vision problems, and then bone health. Okay, so it's actually really helpful for me to think about these things that we just think, oh, they're normal. No, there's actually a solution for them. And it's in the form of this essential oil omega complex. So this E omega, 2,000 milligrams of sustainably sourced wild caught fish oil, and it's sourced sustainably, like I said, from the Nordic seas. This is a really, really excellent. Like if you take these capsules and you pop them in your mouth, they're not rancid because the wild orange essential oil that's in there protects that fish oil from oxidation, which means it's not causing more damage to our body. It actually tastes amazing. So you don't have to pop them in your mouth. You can just swallow them. But if you do pop them in your mouth, you're not going to burp them up. It does not taste disgusting. It's actually delicious, which is really encouraging. The wild orange prevents that oxidation. And doTERRA did a study that found that participants who took this had 42% improvement in blood pressure regulation and a 23% drop in resting heart rate. So and the comparison was a standard omega supplement. So that means when we take this regularly, the strain on our heart is 23% less because it's not beating as often, which I do feel. I definitely feel that in terms of just like a more like less anxious, right? When our heart's racing, we feel anxious. So research suggests that fatty acids may help support all of these things. Heart health, joint health, et cetera, respiratory health, our skin, and our detox pathways, making these, along with VMG, a solution for not just this, but not just these, but also all of these issues that are listed on this slide. Okay, so finally, before we close, there's another thing about the probiotics, okay? So our gut health, and I did go into this a little bit already, but these slides just break it down. Our microbiome, which is like we're like just as many bacterial cells as we are human cells, lives in relationship with our body. And it's so, so, so good. Okay. So, our microbiome, or the healthy bacteria that make up our digestive tract, on our skin, all over the place, play a role in our digestive processes, our the amount of sleep that we get. Okay, it plays a role in our natural melatonin production, our immune system, our mental health, and skin, like I just said. So when we don't get enough fiber, when we disrupt our microbiome with alcohol and sugary things and processed foods, when we don't sleep, all right, when we don't live with dirt under our fingernails on a regular basis, which is good actually for our immune system. Or when we take antibiotics or any sort of pharmaceutical drug, these actually harm our microbiome. And so that's why it's really important to support it with PB Restore, some sort of good probiotic. And I happen to think, not just because I rep this company, but because this actually is formulated in such a way that is really helpful. And the balance of bacteria, the strains that doTERRA has picked to put in here, are really helpful for not just skin health, okay, not just mental health, not just immune health, but cardiovascular health. Like so many strains of bacteria that from a research standpoint have been linked to these really good like higher amounts of those strains have been linked to like lower incidence of these health concerns. Okay, so doTERRA did a really good job in picking what is in here. All right, so oils, which I used to talk about first, and now I'm talking about second, we can really think when we have the foundations in our life set, okay, we have adequate resources for our body to do what it needs to do. When we use oils, which are actually very heavily researched, when they tell our body what to do, we can carry it out. So it's amazing. So doTERRA is a company too. There's no fillers, no synthetics. There's not even organic water in these bottles, no organic solvents, nothing but the aromatics from plants. That's it. The purity is unmatched. Health facilities in America use doTERRA for a reason. All right. The way that we source these oils around the world, 45 different countries, doTERRA advocates and does what's best for the growers and the artisans on the front end, while also taking care of us as consumers because of the quality of the product. Guys, this is really good from a world standpoint, but it's also a business decision by doTERRA. If doTERRA does not take really good care of the people who know these plants the best, the areas of the world in which they grow, we will run out, because just everyone is starting to realize how much our medical system is like not giving us the results that we need, and natural products are. And so doTERRA has to take care of the people around the world. So if you are struggling, it's 12:30, so I want to wrap this up. But if you are struggling with sleep, doTERRA has a solution. You can ask me about it after the class. If you're struggling with anxiety and stress, doTERRA has a solution for you to try that's simple and effective. If joint pain and discomfort, or all over discomfort, or migraines are an issue for you, doTERRA has a solution that you can try that has been effective for so many people. Immune boosting oils. doTERRA has a solution for those. Breathe and On Guard are two of the go-tos in my home anytime we have stuff going on. And if anti-aging and metabolism is a concern of yours, like it is for me, we have an amazing collagen plus NMN product. NMN is kind of it's like a precursor to the main like youthful enzyme of our cells. And I love adding this into my routine as well. And then digestion also. So from an ordering standpoint, this is what I encourage people to do. Order the foundations. Okay. It's $149.50 for all three of these products. It's free shipping. It's 25% off. And every single month, you're going to get a free oil with it. So when you order for the first time, you're going to get a shaker bottle and free bottle of peppermint, which is awesome. If you add on one of those specific solutions, right, like the more you spend for your first order, the more you save, but you're also going to get a free diffuser. There's just a bunch of perks that I can go into more in depth if that's something that you're interested in, or contact the person who invited you to this class. And then here is a list of every single time you order these supplements. In January, you're going to get our digestive essential oil. In February, you're going to get for free our metabolic boosting oil. Today, in July, anytime you order these, you're going to get a free Deep Blue, which is amazing. It's for muscle pain, migraines. What else we use Deep Blue for? Primarily just pain, honestly. Like a lot of athletes use Deep Blue. It's one of the most used products in my home, honestly. I have it on my shoulder right now. And I'm getting it for free in July, which is so awesome. So I love now that when we just take care of ourselves with these foundational wellness products, doTERRA is going to give us over the course of a year the top 12 essential oils. And so now there's no more overwhelm for how to fit oils into our life. Like, oh my gosh, I just spent $300 on an essential oil kit and I don't know how to use them. And I'm afraid I'm never going to know how to use them because the amount of information is, I'm in overwhelm, right? We can just kind of slowly get up to speed. Or if you're really excited about the oils, just order them all at once. And we have a ton of resources to teach you how to use them. So you're not going to be alone either way. I just personally like that for me, I'm able to get those top 12, which we do tend to go through for free over the course of a year. So here is kind of an example. I don't know if you have to maybe zoom in to see it, but when you order that foundational wellness kit, let's say you ordered the sleep kit on, in July, you're going to get a free bottle of peppermint, you're going to get a free shaker bottle, and you're going to get a free diffuser. And I think that's awesome. All right, so finally, every single time I teach a class, there's people that are listening in that are just here for the products, and that's it. If your brain is already like, oh my goodness, my sister's back always hurts, she needs my free Deep Blue, or, I think my mom would be really into this, or my spouse, okay, you're already thinking about others. You're probably going to end up sharing these products. And there's thousands of people in doTERRA that share these products every single month and get their own wellness paid for, which is awesome. If you're looking at me wondering how much I make teaching classes like this on a weekly basis, and you're interested in income, also contact me. So no matter where you are, I want to set you up for success to get you where you want to go the fastest and support you with the resources that you need. So just let me know what you're thinking right now. All right, so order your products, find out about our continuing education. Right after this, there's a call for people who are already using the products to ask specific questions. We have a team Facebook page with like honestly 8 years of resources in it. There's a website and so much more. So thank you so much for being here today.